If you value your sleep, don't book this place. There are hotels that make you feel welcomed, and there are hotels that make you feel watched. Sometimes from the end of a hallway, sometimes from inside your room, sometimes from places where no living person should be. Guests arrive for a peaceful mountain getaway, yet leave with stories so terrifying, they're unable to explain them without trembling. Parents refuse to let their children walk the halls alone. Room attendants quit on their first week. Some guests check in, only to flee at 3 a.m. with their luggage half-packed, and a look in their eyes that says, "I saw something I shouldn't have." Tonight, we step inside the building. That inspired The Shining, a place where nightmares were not created. They were observed, documented, and whispered to guests for more than a century. This is the Stanley Hotel, and what happens inside room 217 should never be forgotten. Chapter 1. The Origin of a Cursed Legend. The Stanley Hotel stands in Estes Park, Colorado, surrounded by mountains, snow, and silence. Beautiful on the outside, disturbing on the inside. It opened in 1909, built by F.O. Stanley, the same man behind the Stanley Steamer automobile. Stanley moved here because he was dying of tuberculosis. Doctors gave him months to live. But the crisp mountain air helped him recover. Grateful, and perhaps spiritually changed, he decided to build a grand hotel as a thank you to the town. Construction crews, guests, and local newspapers all recorded strange events during the early years. Lights flickering without electricity, issues of cold pockets forming in empty hallways, and doors that closed on their own. But Stanley insisted the hotel was alive and protective. A strange choice of words for a man once near death. Some say his spirit remained after he passed, still checking up on his hotel. Chapter 2. Room 217. The room you should never book. No room in the Stanley Hotel has a darker reputation than room 217. Guests don't just report being scared there. They report being interrupted, observed, corrected, and sometimes protected, but not by anything human. The explosion of 1911. On June 25th, 1911, a chambermaid named Elizabeth Wilson entered room 217 to light the gas lamps. A gas leak filled the room silently. When she struck the match, the explosion shattered half the floor, blasted windows into the courtyard, and threw her body across the hallway. She survived. But something changed after that night. Staff claimed Elizabeth returned to work, then continued working after she died decades later. Guests today still report waking to their bags neatly unpacked, clothes folded at the foot of the bed, or the lights turned off gently, as if by the hands of a caring but strict maid. Some say they hear her voice, "You shouldn't be here," the man in the corner. One guest in 1994 reported seeing a tall figure, standing motionless in the corner of room 217. He described it as human, but wrong. With eyes darker than shadow, and clothes soaked in water. He blinked, and it was gone. Another guest said she woke at 2:30 a.m. to a cold hand pressing her shoulder, and a whisper near her ear saying, "Get out of this room now." She left immediately, and refused to return for her belongings. Some rooms are haunted. Room 217 is active. Chapter 3. The fourth floor. Children who never checked out. The fourth floor of the Stanley Hotel is a world of its own. During the early 1900s, the fourth floor was the children's wing, a place where wealthy families left their kids to play, nap, or run around while parents enjoyed the ballroom. But some children, it seems, never left. Guests hear footsteps running above them when the room above is empty. They hear giggles in the hall. long after midnight, one woman staying in room 428 reported feeling her blanket being tugged repeatedly. She assumed it was her husband. He was asleep, turned away from her. She turned on the light. No one was there. Another guest heard a child whisper directly into her ear, "Do you want to play with me?" The hallway was empty. Even more disturbing, paranormal teams captured a child's voice saying, don't go down there," followed by a loud banging sound from a hidden storage room that no longer opens. Chapter 4. The Spirit of F.O. Stanley. Guests often see a man in a formal black suit, moving silently around the lobby. He doesn't walk, he glides. Some say he appears on the grand staircase. Others say he shows up in old ballroom photographs that no one remembers taking. Security footage once caught a man matching Stanley's description, walking toward a wall and continuing through it. No alarm triggered, no motion detector registered him. Staff members say his energy feels strict but gentle, like a former owner, making sure the building is in order. But others say his presence is a warning, a guardian trying to keep people away from something deeper inside the hotel. Chapter 5. The Grand Ballroom. The ballroom is one of the most iconic rooms in the hotel and one of the most haunted. Late-night security guards have reported seeing a woman in a long white Victorian gown, dancing alone to music no one else can hear. Witnesses say she moves with elegance until someone tries to speak to her. Then she fades, like fog dissolving in sunlight. EMF meters spike near the piano, where paranormal investigators captured a whisper saying, "Leave it alone." When the piano is closed, it sometimes plays a single note, sharp, loud, and deliberate. Chapter 6. The Darker Side of the Hotel. Though the Stanley is known for friendly ghosts, some encounters are not friendly at all. Visitors report scratching sounds from inside closets, shadows passing underneath locked doors, cold hands grabbing ankles at night, and sudden nausea that disappears when they leave certain rooms. One investigator said, "There's something here that doesn't want to be seen, but it wants you to know it's close." Another recorded a voice through an EVP saying, "You don't belong here." The Stanley Hotel is beautiful in the daylight, but when night falls and the halls go silent and the mountains freeze, the hotel wakes up. If you ever visit, don't book room 217. Don't wander the 4th floor alone. And don't answer if a child's voice calls your name. You survived this story, but not the next one. Subscribe while you can. If you value your sleep, don't book this place.